Hi guys, hope you're well. It's Miss Rhonda. We're going to do the protein lesson today. So we'll get started with that. So we've done the grain lesson, the fruit and vegetables lesson, and the dairy lesson. So now we've got the fifth and final group, the protein lesson. So we're going to talk about that. So I've got some protein foods laid out for us today. So we're going to look at some pictures together. So here's some proteins that are plant sources. In other words, they come from a plant. Peanuts are full of protein. And what do we make out of peanuts? Well, yes, we make peanut butter. We have almonds. Then the dried peas. I've got dried beans, and pintos, and things like that you eat are good protein foods. And then we've got some animal sources of protein. We've got roast beef, got spare ribs. I'm sure one of these is your favorite. Hamburgers, the turkey, and yes, that egg. I know we buy egg at the grocery store next to the milk, but a cow don't lay eggs. A chicken lays eggs, and chicken is protein, and eggs are protein. So when you see a picture of that egg, remember, it's in the protein group. So I love an egg sandwich once in a while. And then you have your shrimp and your fish, your pork, your chicken, and some ham. I wanted to point one thing out to you. The muscle is the protein. The skin is fat. There's no protein in the fat. The protein is in the muscle. So here's the ham. You see the little white parts? The fat. So we don't want to eat a whole lot of that. There's no protein in that. The protein, this is the protein. So that's what our body needs. And so we like lean choices of protein because we don't need a whole lot of extra fat. We need some, but not a lot of extra fat. So I'm going to show you something else. So here is some real choices of protein. So we have peanut butter. You might want to think, well, how many ounces of protein do I need a day to be healthy? Well, we'll talk about that. So you guys need about 4 to 5 ounces a day. It doesn't take a whole lot more protein to keep you healthy. So 1 tablespoon of peanut butter would be 1 ounce. 1 egg would be 1 ounce. 1/4 of a cup of beans, I bet you eat more than that at one time, is 1 ounce. Or a nice handful of walnuts or any kind of nut would be 1 ounce. So there's an example of 4 ounces. So if you ate that in a day, you'd be about right. So we have a little phone or a deck of cards. That's about a 3-ounce piece of chicken or steak, if you were to measure it like that. So that would let you know. So if I ate a piece of steak about that big and an egg, maybe a tablespoon of peanut butter, that will give me 5 ounces of protein. So that's what you guys need right now. All right, so we're going to turn in our books. I'll do this with you. There's power on to the protein exchange. All right, so we know that the protein in the first car is, yes, the egg. The protein in the second car is that fish. The protein in the third car is, yes, that steak. The protein in the fifth car are the beans. And the protein in the final car is, of course, that turkey. So what does protein do for me? Well, they're the building blocks for my cells. So my cells are busy doing work and they're repairing my muscles and my tissues and everything like that. And they do their job and they die and I have to rebuild more. My body is remarkable taking care of itself. So protein helps my body to do that. So it's the building block to help make us strong. So we're going to turn on page 30 together and do the protein match. So here are some foods and here's where they come from. So where do you think that walnut comes from? A chicken, a tree, a plant, a turkey, a pig, a fish, or a cow? Well, of course, the walnut grows on a tree. So that's where we get that. Salmon swims in the river. So yes, it is a fish. Well, the hamburger, of course, that hamburger comes from a cow. Eggs, we just said that. A chicken lays the egg, so you can draw a line from there to there. A turkey leg, well, I hope it comes from a turkey. Some beans grow, of course, on a plant. And that pork chop comes from a pig. So there are animal and plant sources of protein. So what's your favorite protein? So I made some snack for you today. So I'll wash my hands really well. Hope you guys are remembering to wash your hands before you eat. And I made a taco dip. So it was very, very simple. You can see it's tasty. I usually serve a new food like this with something you're familiar with, the chips. Well, believe it or not, this taco dip is one of my most sought out recipes. I have high school students that had this in the 2nd grade and asked me again, how did you make that? So even though this sounds very strange, I think you're going to love it. So you simply have a can of refried beans, and you open that and put it in a bowl. Then you open your favorite salsa. It doesn't matter what kind. This is black bean and corn, but whatever you like best. If you like it hot, you can make it hot. If you don't, you can make it mild. You mix the two together in a bowl with a spoon, and you have the best dip. So this is good just to dip with your chips or to eat in a burrito and all kinds of ways. Well, what's the protein, you might say? Well, of course, the salsa is vegetables, tomatoes and corn and beans and all kinds of things. The beans could be a little bit of protein in here. But refried beans are like pinto beans that have been smashed up, and they are full of protein. So this is a great source of protein for you. So this snack has has vegetables and protein and a few what are corn chips made out of corn, a grain. Yes, very good. All right, so protein makes my muscles very, very strong. But not by itself. What have I got to do? Oh yes, I've got to do weight-bearing exercises. So I want you to turn on page 33 if you have your book. And we're going to talk about physical activity at least 60 minutes a day. So if you have your book, if you don't have it, you can just think about this. Your favorite activity is, what's your favorite physical activity? Football, soccer, baseball, basketball, trampoline, cheerleading, clogging, dancing, riding your bicycle, running after your baby brother or your baby sister. It doesn't matter. They're all physical activities. What do you like to do that? Well, my favorite physical activity is hiking. I love to hike up the mountain. And I like to do it because it's fun and I get outside. And how often do I do this? I do it as often as I possibly can. But if not, I do things around home. I have a video at home that I walk with and helps me do my weight-bearing exercises and aerobic activity for my heart, weight-bearing for my muscles, and then I stretch at the end, do a little yoga to get the flexibility in. So I have an activity log, and sometimes it helps me to plan what I'm going to do each day, and then I've worked it into my schedule, and I don't forget to do that. It's so very, very important. So one other thing we need to remember to do is to keep our protein safe. So I don't have to worry about peanut butter. It's okay out of the refrigerator. But protein foods need to be in the refrigerator. And then they also need to be cooked. So I hope at home you have a thermometer like this. So if this was a steak, I would insert the thermometer and make sure the temperature read a certain degree. Like chicken takes a little bit hotter. Steak don't need to be quite as hot. You have to help your parents go online and look to see what the proper temperature, because there's germs and bacteria in raw meats that have to be cooked to the proper temperature. So washing does not destroy those bacteria. Only cooking does. Speaking of thawing, how are you going to thaw steak out of the freezer? Well, the best way, of course, is to thaw it on a plate in the bottom of your refrigerator. If you leave something out on the counter all day long, bacteria grow very rapidly on the outside, so that's an unsafe practice. And also, if I put a steak on this cutting board, would I want to cut an apple on the same cutting board uncooked? No, I have to make sure I have a separate cutting board, or I have to wash and disinfect this cutting board and my knife and my hands before I use this again. So make sure you keep everything safe. There's one more thing I want to remind everybody of, and that's the 5-2-1 and almost none. So staying healthy by the number. So every day you need 5 servings of fruit and vegetables. So whatever you like, put vegetables on your pizza, eat some salsa, have some corn, green beans, whatever you like. Spend 2 hours or less on the computer or watching television. Go outside and play or dance to the music. Be active for at least 1 hour a day. Do whatever you like to do best. And skip those sugary drinks. We talked about the sugar and drinks the last time. So water or milk with dinner is best. And I hope you guys have a wonderful summer. And I will be giving you a graduation certificate from North Carolina State University EFNEP program. So you didn't know you were going to graduate from state with a class this year, did you? I'll get that certificate to you. I have a water bottle for each of you. I've really enjoyed our time together when we were together. So I hope these videos have been fun for you. And I'll see you again, hopefully in the 4th grade. Y'all take care.